Thank you for the kind introduction. As we have heard three wonderful talks from our prominent scientists, mainly on land biodiversity, let me take you on a short dive to uncover what is below our ocean. Let's take a moment to reflect. This is a photo of Earth taken by NASA's GOES-13 satellite on a mission of weather monitoring. As you can see, the predominant color of our planet is blue. The blue color you see is water. And in fact, it is seawater that is not drinkable and salty. It is somewhat bizarre how we call this Earth, planet Earth, referring to soil, when 70% of its surface is covered with water. Malaysia is a maritime nation that is surrounded by water bodies. If we take account the area of our exclusive economic zone, the area covered in sea is almost twice the length of our country. But somehow, we know too little about what is within our seas, including the names of these water bodies. Try naming the water areas you see in the slides. How many names did you get it right? It is fascinating that Malaysia is right within the World Bank of Marine Biodiversity. Why do I say so? Take a look at this map. It denotes the diversity of fishes globally. The redder the spectrum of an area correlates to the higher diversity of fish species. In fact, we are actually sitting on the world's maximum marine biodiversity. A similar pattern can be seen from a species of corals and many other marine invertebrates. This map shows an area what we call coral triangle, where this area again contains the greatest number of species of corals in the world. If you think Great Barrier Reefs in Australia is impressive, wait till you really discover what is within our backyard. One of the hypotheses as why this area is the world's maximum marine biodiversity is due to the unique current flow that is experienced in this region. Here you can see the main North Equatorial Current flowing from the Pacific Ocean, carrying a multitude of planktonic larvae, or in layman term, swimming babies, to the region. The strong current is forced to slow down as it enters the Philippines and flow into the Coral Triangle using the Indonesia Through Flow current, and also into the South China Sea. As it is doing so, the currents deposit these highly diverse larvae in the area, enabling high biodiversity to thrive. With the blessing of such enormous resources in Malaysia, the sea is inherently one of the most important protein sources to feed our growing nation. In fact, 1/3 of our protein source are either directly or indirectly comes from the sea. It was also once considered the cheapest source of protein for the people. Therefore, for us to tackle food security of our nation, we must manage our marine biodiversity and resources carefully. Apart from food, marine ecosystem through its diverse life is pivotal in maintaining a habitable planet for life to exist. We are always taught that oxygen that we breathe is produced by plants and trees in the forests. The truth is that the ocean produces more than half of the oxygen that we breathe. And one good example is the seagrass ecosystem. Apart from providing oxygen, seagrass area is also important as nursery ground for many species of fishes to grow. The seagrass ecosystem is also one of the most effective carbon sequester to combat climate change. It is 4 times more effective in sequestering carbon compared to the same area of rainforests. The seagrass area that you see in this picture is actually one of the biggest seagrass areas in the Straits of Malacca, which is just situated next to Georgetown, Penang. Now, if you are traveling to Penang by the first bridge, you can see this area on your right. A long-term monitoring of marine biodiversity and also changes to this area done by the Center for Marine and Coastal Studies, CMAX, USM, has yielded many important findings. Some highlights of our work include the description of 2 new species of sea cucumber recently shown here. Who would have known in an urban and disturbed coastal area still yields a big diversity of species? As we are speaking, efforts are underway to gazette this area as a permanent marine sanctuary in order to protect and add value to the marine ecosystem in Penang. The cultural values and heritage connection of our communities to marine biodiversity are another aspect of biodiversity that seems to be often forgotten. It is undoubted that our forebears and indigenous communities were once great seafarers, and their lives tightly intertwined with the sea. Though some communities like the Bajau Laut or Suluk people of northern Borneo are still very dependent on the sea for their livelihood, much of our communities have departed from lives living by or with the sea. The loss of marine biodiversity could mean the loss of our cultural heritage. This can be seen with examples here. Take a look at 3 different animals from the sea that we easily can name them in English language, but somehow we will find it difficult to recall their original names in Malay language. The giant clam is one critically threatened animal called kerang gergasi, which in fact is a translation of the English name of giant clam. The native name for it is actually kima. The first picture shows the landmark work done by Professor Dr. Eileen Tan, our Fellow of the Academy of Sciences Malaysia from CIMAX. She managed to rehabilitate and restore our marine heritage in the Johor Islands, which lost their kima population in the late 90s. Now, the remaining 2 animals that you see, the hermit crab and sea anemone, would have been fun to be known in their native names of umang-umang and buran. Of course, there are many other functions and importance of marine biodiversity, but I would like to propose here on how do we make a paradigm shift in our view towards biodiversity. It will be a grave mistake and danger for us to think of our marine biodiversity as mere commodity for food production or an infinite resource. Malaysia, being a mega-diverse country, should now look into the futures of non-extractive economy values of our biodiversity. One example of those activities includes the recently popularized biodiversity credit system in the United Nations Biodiversity Conference COP15 in Montreal, where countries like Malaysia can really benefit and achieve the balance of economic gains and conservation. Incentivizing protection of ecosystem and biodiversity can have 2-pronged gains here. Now, first is to achieve sustainable growth, at the same time also preserving the ecosystem. Similarly, we have to address the future impending threats of the ocean. As it is famously quoted, our ocean is getting warmer, breathless, and acidic due to greenhouse gases. Not forgetting our current challenges of overharvesting and overfishing of marine resources. It is projected that we will totally lose our fish population in waters in the next 50 to 80 years. Now, I pray hard that our next generation will still be able to enjoy seafood as we did. Therefore, putting priority in our biodiversity has never been more important. It is now, as seen by this study, land, marine biodiversity, and the biosphere forms the basic foundation towards the success of the Sustainable Development Goals. As we are the world's maximum marine biodiversity, we are also situated at the region that is most fragile. In relation to negative human impacts towards the marine ecosystem, if we are not careful, we might just lose our only chance to coexist in this planet. What can we do as individuals? Get involved. Learn about the wonders of marine biodiversity through the different medias, and most important, learning it through experiencing the ocean. Now, you can do this in CIMAX USM. As institutions, we should continue to invest in marine sciences and technologies, as well as creating a healthy STIE ecosystem, especially in marine biodiversity sciences, to create innovative solutions for future challenges of the ocean. As Sir David Attenborough said, no one will protect what they don't care about, and no one will care about what they never experience. For that I say, you can't protect what you do not know about. For that, I am Abe Woo from Center for Marine and Coastal Studies CIMAX, University Science Malaysia, signing off. Thank you.